Hello, how you doing? I am here with my notebook today and a good old crystal tower to talk about lessons I learned last night during the full moon. Moon music, thrifted. I don't even know what moon music is, but I like the colors. Didn't even realize I was wearing that. So I realized how closed off my heart was because of the amount of human trauma that I experienced last year, and I knew that I was working through it, but I didn't realize how closed my heart still was. So, and side note, did you know? Did you know that your heart is actually one continuous muscle and that it can unfold? Let's just say this again. Did you know that your heart is one continuous muscle and it can literally unfold once it gets, like, I think there's like an outer layer part of it that obviously like keeps it all together, but it can unravel. Google it, video it, because when I saw that, I literally was just like, what? Because I went on YouTube and I was like, heart opening, and I just wanted to see what would come up. I was like, meditation, music, anything like that. But I was not expecting someone to literally be like, did you know that your heart can yada, yada, yada? Ooh. So when we say people have closed hearts, I get it now. They ain't just closed, they tight. People got tight hearts. And because people have tight hearts, people love to make other people have tight hearts too. But I want mine loose. I want mine loosey goosey. I do. I want my heart to feel symbolically, of course, because I think the tightness is for a reason. But symbolically, I want my heart to feel free. I want my heart to feel like, you know what? Even if someone tries to hurt me, or even if someone does hurt me, my heart will still stay open. And of course, it's going to have to go through recovery at certain points, but I want to live my life with an open heart, not tight. So anyways, this is a poem that I wrote last night, halfway almost asleep. I don't know why the world wanted me to harden. Not even the world, but the people in my life. Why did they fear my softness? Why did they worry around a heart that was not theirs? Why did they try to convince me into a poor self-belief system that was never mine to own? Why be as hard as rock when you could be as limitless as water, ever expanding like air, or gentle but not to be fucked with like fire? So I shed the beliefs that were never mine to own, only to look at those closed hearts holding that pain that tells them, if only your heart was colder, if only your heart was harder, and observe. After all, sometimes people only tell you what to do when they don't want to tell it to themselves. Without carrying their beliefs, I wonder how high I could fly. Lessons from the sky. Thank you, Bee. Yeah, that was pretty beautiful. I'm not even gonna lie. I ain't even gonna lie. I'm gonna date that. Yeah, that. And yes, I can recount the stories, and I can go back and dive through all the things again here although I've said them so many times with my therapists and loved ones and things like that, but there have been people who have been like really close to me, like supposed to be the ones to protect me, to aim to harden me, because I've always had this love for life. And when those people would, aim to toughen me up, I never understood it, because I'm like, if you know that the world is tough, if you know that the world can be hard, if you know that the world things can happen that don't make sense, why would you choose to be a source of the hardening as well? I even think about people with families who are unaccepting of their queerness, and how they say things like, well, we got to toughen you up because the world's, gonna be hard on you. That logic, I understand, makes logical sense. That makes no sense to the heart. That it really doesn't. And yes, there is some leeway. There is some understanding. Like when you see drag queens reading each other, eventually it does harden the shell, so that way other people's opinions don't penetrate as deep. But when you are outside of that world, if you're outside of that experience, it feels very hypocritical to tell someone to harden. Because instead, if we could create and build a society where people are uplifting each other and not trying to harden each other, but celebrate people's softness, imagine how much more peace, how much less violence that we might be able to have. Because so many of the times, even when we think about, school bullies, most of the time they're being bullied at home. Most of the time they're being bullied at home. Because it's learned. It is a learned behavior. And so to deliberately vocalize that I want to be free from such tough love, because there is such a thing as tough love, but there's also this thing as rough love. I think that's how I'm going to differentiate it. There's a difference between tough love and rough love, where I feel like tough love is saying, hey, I know that you really like this person, but you might be stringing them along. Or you get it though, right? Like being able to tell a friend, like, hey, you're messing up. Like, hey, like that probably wasn't a good idea. Hey, maybe you should rethink that and pivot, because you're gonna hurt someone in this process. That to me is tough love. Rough love is just like, you're just being sandpaper to paper. It can't smoothen. It just gets thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner. So that's how I feel that, has been tried to be sent to me last year, is a lot of rough love. And I want to heal from that. And I do feel that that starts with just admitting where we're at, admitting where we've come from, but also where do we want to go? I want to build a chosen family and a community that is built on people supporting each other. I want the kids that come from that chosen family to be able to understand that supporting people and celebrating each other's wins is normal. Can you also imagine how much less war we might have If we ran on a society that supports and celebrates love and curiosity and friendliness, could you imagine? Can you imagine? Because I'm sure it's easier for people to like grab around the concept of war if they've experienced war in their homes, war in their households, wars in their neighborhoods. I'm sure people are much more desensitized to the idea of these things happening when it happens in front of them. So what if we do the work to allow our own hearts to be open? Not because we're trying to avoid anything bad ever happening to us. That's not possible. Even with the most open heart, you can still experience loss and grief. But those are things that just happen with life. When we think about rough love is something that is human provoked. It is humanly produced, given back. So if it is human produced, that is also meaning that we, as humans, have the opportunity, the privilege, and the right to do something about that, to change those habits, to shift how we are perceiving other people's softness and other people's sometimes naivety. It doesn't mean that we don't offer that tough love, but it means that we are cognizant of when it starts to become rough love. And we either leave the conversation, we either tell people, I need some time, or we say, I think you should probably talk to a professional about this because I don't have the capacity. But instead, because we're so afraid to tell people or don't even have the language or are afraid to be honest in this way of being like, I don't have the capacity to talk to you about this, that's where we get rough love. That's where we get rough love. Crazy boots. I had a situation last year with an old manager where it came down to like her excluding me from like coffee orders with the rest of the team. And I would just be like, it must be so lonely in your heart. It must be so lonely. I can't even imagine the pain that you experience, that you laugh off, that you purchase things, you buy things just to get the instant gratification, just to try and soften the sadness that is in your heart, just for a few moments. And I feel that on my worst days, I probably am not as lonely as that. So, for the people who've given you rough love, let's just say those are some interesting hearts. And it's not your job to dissect them. You can give them your observation. But do not bring it upon yourself to change it. We are our responsibilities, which is why I started this by saying I want to open my heart, because I don't want to fall under the guise of thinking that it's my job to harden other people for this life ahead. If anything, I want to be there to support their softness, to protect their softness, to celebrate their softness, their belief in the world, their belief in hope. And when something does happen that damages that hope for them, I will also be there to say, I got you. And it's okay to feel what you're feeling. And to me, that is how we change the world. All right, y'all. I'm gonna go get my green juice. I'm green juiceless because I warmed up my water and then I put the water and all my greens inside of the blender. But it has like, it was like one of those like ninja like screw on tops. And I think because of the heat, it expanded. And so now I couldn't open up the thing. So I had to put it in the fridge. Try to cool it down before I open it again. But if not, I might be knocking on my neighbor's door. I'm like, can you help me open up my greens? Because I can't open up. I can't open the cup. Oh my goodness. All right. I will see you guys soon. And thank you, me, for pressing record. And thank you for watching. Okay. Bye.